Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. Now we're going on to part two. The Honda Shadow that I bought as my second motorbike when I turned 40, official midlife crisis type stuff. And you know what? I walked into a showroom of the then Honda dealership that was closing down, and a guy had this Honda Shadow on consignment that literally had 1,100 kilometers. All right, 1,100 kilometers. The thing was like 2.5 years old. I bought it back in 2007, I believe. Man, the thing was brand new. There was not a scratch on it, had saddlebags, had a windshield, which, just for the record guys, before we go on any further, as you start to see my videos, you're gonna see that I have a dislike for windshields, and especially forums dedicated to windshields. You might disagree with me, but I'm of the thought that I'm riding a motorcycle, not in a car. Anyway, at the time, I bought that bike with a windshield, and I thought that was great. My Virago before, it had a Spitfire windshield as well. But anyway, this bike was all blinged out and done up. He had the highway bars around it, and some of you guys are probably laughing because that's really out of style now, and it's only like, what, 10 years later. But anyway, I saw this bike and I asked the guy what was going on. He wanted a certain amount of money, so I got in touch with the owner, told him I couldn't buy it for another month till I had one of my houses sell, but you know, I was very interested. I'd give him this much money and I'd pay him this much money. And sure enough, before I turned 40 years old, I had myself a 2004 Honda Spirit. Now let me tell you, I thought at the time that that would be the bike I'd need, because I had this theory that, you know, if the bike didn't really go super fast and was too heavy, and you know, when you hit gravel it terrified you, that was the bike you have because it kept you sane and calm, and you would just drive that much calmer. What I've learned, guys, it's not about the bike, it's about the guy that rides the bike. I rode that bike and I rode it pretty hard. Right when I got it, right after that, me and some buddies, we took a trip down to Las Vegas, Nevada. And that baby went. Remember what I was saying about the Virago I used to have, how the pegs were up a little bit high and you could corner like crazy? Well, back then, me and my buddies, we were all on cruisers, and we were going through Montana and Idaho and everything, Nevada to get to Vegas there. And we had some really twisty roads, like the Sawtooth, you know, some great roads, Glacier Park. We were just flying by. If you guys have a chance to go through those, beautiful thing. The Sawtooth is, I believe, in the Nez Perce Forest. And of course, Glacier Park is Glacier Park in Montana, right near the border. Anyway, that bike, all the other bikes were grinding and sparking all over the place. We had a Yamaha 1100, we had the Mighty Star 1900 one of my buddies had, which was my dream bike that I ended up buying for his wife to give him as a surprise. That killed me at the time, let me tell you. But anyway, so we had these bikes and we were grinding the pegs off. One of my buddies, he was the only guy who would leave us in the dust all the time, had a Bandit, and it's close to a sport bike. Just a little bit more touring capabilities, and that guy kept leaving us in the dust. Seriously leaving us in the dust. But we made it all the way to Vegas and back. I drove that bike and I put over 40,000 kilometers on it. But before I got rid of that bike, actually, I had a bit of an accident on that bike, just doing exactly what I said. I was kind of racing on my way. I like to do dramas. I actually do some musicals and stuff. Don't ask me to sing, because it's probably not as good as I think it is anyway. Anyway, I go around a corner trying to get to a place in a hurry, and I'm watching something else, and I hit gravel, and my bike goes into a tank slapper at about 70 kilometers an hour, and I go flying through the air. At the time, I wore one of those little beanies. You know, anybody who had a cruiser had the cool beanie, the lightest possible one you could get. I landed on that babe and put a strip like that, like right down the helmet, about 2 inches. It's just like you took an angle grinder, just. So, yeah, poor bike was a little bit of damage to it. I had a dented tank, my clutch levers were broke, the handlebars were all twisted up, one bar was really low, the saddlebags were all messed up, the seat was all messed up, it broke some turn signals on it. Yeah, it was really sad to see. I was in rough shape, but I felt for my bike. You know, 2 days later, I was hobbling around a little bit, but I decided to take my bike down. I started to get prices because I thought I'd have to go through insurance. Well, it was only about $3,500 to replace the parts that I had, and I didn't really want to go through insurance because it was $1,000 deductible anyway, and it only paid about $8 grand for the bike. So I started looking into aftermarket accessories. So, you know, I got these Maltese cross grips, I got a tank, I got it all repainted for about 400 bucks instead of going to exactly the way I wanted with the tank badges and everything. I was able to get the tank done cheaper at a body shop with a custom paint thing. Again, Maltese crosses, and the foot pegs matched. I put on straight pipes from Cobra. They weren't damaged, but I kind of fudged that one a little bit so I could get aftermarket pipes, which I already want, because I had already drilled them out. I'd already drilled out the pipes, tried to make them loud, and they still had a funny sound. So I got these Cobra drag pipes, and then I wrapped them in the tape, and that heat tape for the headers. And yeah, I got that bike looking the way I really wanted it to look. And let me tell you guys, if you have a chance to personalize a bike and to put some heart and soul into it, it just makes it more yours. Of course, we might have to get in some tears later when I tell you that I had to sell that bike. We're not gonna cry. We're not gonna cry. Anyway, guys, I did sell that bike, but before I sold that bike, I bought 2 other bikes, and on the next video, we're gonna go into one of those bikes. And that was my first adventure into dual sport motorcycling. It'll be the KLR 650. Subscribe down below. Tell me about your experiences with your bike, if you've crashed one, what kind of customization or mods you did. Give me a link to a video that you have so I can see what your bike looks and sounds like. But tune in next time for the KLR 650. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.